What is going on, guys? Welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about why it's a lot quicker to go from 100,000 to a million than it is from 0 to 100,000. I basically started my first business when I was 13 years old, and it took me 6 or 7 years to hit my first $100,000 in, I guess you could say, liquid net worth. I'll put a screenshot right here. And I essentially started with $60, grew that all the way to 100,000, and that took almost 7 years. And then to hit my first $1 million, it only took me 2 more years. So from 100,000 liquid to $1 million, I'll put a screenshot right here so you guys can see, I'm being honest. It literally took me 2 years, and I know I see a lot of videos of people talking about, your first 100,000 and then to $1 million will take 10 years, or whatever amount of time it's going to take. It only took me 2 years, and obviously I was doing riskier plays, but it is very true. I truly think you can get from 100,000 to $1 million far quicker if you do riskier plays. Now, I'm not talking about just put it in the stock market and bet it on one stock and just hope it 10x's. That's absolutely not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about more from a reinvestment standpoint. My first business was sneaker reselling. When I hit that $100,000 net worth in 2019, 2020, luckily for me, that's when the market was probably at its all-time high. The Michael Jordan documentary came out. All shoes were going crazy high in price. So I guess you could say for me, it was definitely timing. I definitely got lucky in the sense of I was doing something consistently 6-7 years since I was very young. I knew the ins and outs of everything. Right when everything went up in price, I already knew exactly what to do. And so maybe I got lucky in that regard that it only took me 2 years to hit $1 million. But in my opinion, I think most people would be better off reinvesting that $100,000 into some sort of business, whether it's their business, probably really only their business. Like, I'm not going to say other people's businesses, really reinvesting it into their business, whether that's if you're in the reselling space, more inventory, right? Take that whole 100,000 and spend it all. Like, you're not spending it on stuff you don't know. It's not like you're spending it on stocks that you may or may not have a good idea on how it works. Spend it on your business. Spend it on increasing the amount of stuff increasing the skills That's pretty much what I did. I mean, a majority of my money I took from my $100,000 to get it to $1 million. I invested it into more inventory, more skills, more employees. Funny enough, courses. I would buy courses to get more information. There was stuff I didn't know how to do. And it helped me essentially just skill stack. I would stack up all these skills, and everything I'd be able to do on a day-to-day basis was far easier. Like, subconsciously, I kind of already knew how to do most things already because I invested right back into myself. I know this is definitely a little bit different from most people who will say investing your 100,000 to your first $1 million is going to take a decade. And I'm sure it will for most people, but I'm also here to say I don't think it needs to take a decade. Just because someone says, conservatively invest it at 5 or 10%, you'll become a millionaire, or you'll become a millionaire by the age of 50 or 60. I don't think you have to take that route if you have the stomach to take more risk. Another thing that honestly expedited my growth significantly from that 100,000 to $1 million is, like I said prior, I was able to invest my resources into more businesses. I'll give you guys an example for today. Obviously, I have more than 100,000, but today, let's say I wanted to start a SaaS AI company. I do market research. I find the one that is pretty much performing the best. There are competitors on the market, but I already know that they're doing, let's say, $100,000 per month, $1.2 million per year. To get something like that built out, which I already did, that cost me $1,500. That's 1.5% of $100,000. So if I had $100,000, I would just have someone build a product like that, and then I would just spend the rest on advertisement, right? It doesn't have to be the whole $98,000 on advertisement to get me to $1 million. But I mean, I could just spend $10,000 on advertisement. But then it also goes back to Do you know how to run advertisement? Do you know how to do Facebook ads? Do you know how to do YouTube ads? Do you know how to do Google ads? And if the answer is no, it simply just goes back to you have to get these skills in order to scale quicker, right? I'm not telling you you have to go in, put it in some super safe market, put it into real estate where you're going to be collecting, off 100,000, you're going to be collecting like $500 to $800 a month in rent. So you're not going to really make much after all fees. But I'm not telling you to do these things. What I'm saying is the more you spend on your skills, the more you spend on knowing more things, whether that's books, whether that's information, really anything, whether that's even working for someone for a super small amount and learning what they know, you're going to hit that $1 million. Probably it could be within a year, it could be within 2 years, it could be within 3 years. I don't think it will pass 5 years. As long as you're obviously being more aggressive with, getting to that point and not just sitting back and being like, I can get there in 10 years, I can get there in 20 years. Because in 10 and 20 years, that $1 million is not going to be worth $1 million. Like, it's simply not. Any amount of money prior to 2020, so I guess you could say when I hit 100K 2020 and before, so 2019, 2020, that's already worth 25% less. So now me being a so-called millionaire, even if I have a couple million, subtract 25% of what it's worth because of inflation. So like, don't put your goal on, I'll get there in 20 years, I'll get there in 10 years. By then it's not going to be worth as much. So my personal opinion, to get to that 100,000 to $1 million, invest in skills, reinvest into your business, reinvest into making it grow. Don't think, I'll just put it into some safe little. You can do that once you already have the millions, right? That's fine. You can preserve it then, but preserving 100,000 is the wrong way to go in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you guys for the next one.